It's probably slightly more difficult with a CRM because you're all encompassing really, aren't you, in terms of you're that heartbeat of every estate agency. It always comes back to the CRM. But from what little I know of Rex personally, is that you're very highly spoken of in Australia. And I guess if the UK market wants to know what they're going to be doing in 12 to 18 months' time, we generally just have to look at what's going on in Australia because they always seem to be slightly ahead of us with their marketing and their leverage of certain products. So maybe take us through what makes Rex a little bit different vis-a-vis what people are used to seeing from a UK CRM.
Yeah, absolutely. So what kind of sets Rex apart and what makes it that difference to kind of the standard UK CRMs is that we focus on building and maintaining long-term relationships with clients and with anyone that comes into your CRM. So most CRMs encourage you to be pretty transactional. Vendor wants to sell a property, vendor becomes a client on there, buyer inquires about a property. Once the initial interactions with them are done, whether they're selling the property, whether they're trying to buy a property, that's pretty much the last that ever happens with those contacts within your database. Within the Rex system, we obviously encounter that as well. So you do the transactional side of it, but it is kind of more focused on building that long-term relationship to ensure repeat business. And that's what the system is kind of geared towards, so that clients come into your database, contacts come into the database. You can ensure that you're keeping in touch with them over 1, 2, 3, 5 years, so that someone who is a buyer now becomes your vendor in a couple of years' time, and you become their trusted advisor for real estate.
So basically, it combines all the features of a regular CRM, but it also has that functionality of having a great keep in touch policy, so that you can, once you have that interacted with somebody, they remain in your ecosystem, and the next time they come to choose an agent, they're going to think, okay, we're going to go with Mark because he kept in touch with us, said hello from time to time. And as I understand it, it has functionality in terms of open API and playing well with other apps. So that's something that within the prop tech realm, we're always trying to tick a couple of boxes. One is that it works, which is great. It should work. But the other thing is it plays well with others.
Yeah. We have a fully open API. A number of developers have built integrations with the Rex platform with very little input from our development team. It's quite easy for them to do so, and we do offer the help as well, but it's a very simple API that they can connect with.
Can I ask you one question, which is a pain point for agents moving CRM? So forgive me, I'm giving you no preparation for this whatsoever, but I'm an agent, I want to move CRM products, and I think the Rex looks amazing. If I want to come across to you guys, what do I do with my data? What's your data migration side of things look like?
So we've successfully migrated data from pretty much every major CRM in the UK. So any CRM that says to you, look, when you come to us, it's going to be a seamless, really easy process to get all your data in, they're lying to you. It's not a process that is completely problem-free, and no CRM can promise that to you. First thing is that it's largely dependent on the quality of the data export that you get from your current provider. There are some that are better, there's some that are not so great. That data that then obviously is exported comes out of the system. We have been able to convert that into our import spreadsheets to get into the Rex system, and by and large, virtually every field that comes from these other major CRMs will be able to be imported into the Rex system, with a couple of exceptions. But that major data that is very important for you to have, so who your contacts are, your properties, your listing, the notes that have been previously made, that will all be imported into the Rex system from pretty much every CRM that you could name in the UK.
That was the right answer to that question, because it is one of the biggest pain points. And I think that almost like moving landlords or moving banks. You know, landlords won't move managing agents easily because they think that shifting things around is complicated and they want that continuity. Same with people moving bank accounts. And it's always the same of CRM systems. CRMs rule our lives basically. We use it as the engine to drive our agencies, all the appointments, all our interactions with members of the public. So important for so many different things, but it's very much more than just a database these days. It has everything in there, sales progression notes, you name it. And it's always useful to be able to sort of say, oh yeah, Mark, we sold a house for you 5 years ago. 1 second, I'm just going to bring up those details. And then you get a snapshot of where you were with that particular client. So it's good to hear that you thought about that. And it's easy to move across. Who would you say your system's for? Is it for agents of all different sizes, or is it best suited for a certain type of business?
So our spread of clients is from a single agent, single user, single agent agencies, right up to one of the largest independent agencies in the UK with over 200 branches. So there's a big spread. What we've had particular success with recently, and where the platform does resonate quite well, are those operating a sort of a self-employed or a hybrid model, where that is the norm within the Australian market. There are parts of the system and parts of the design of the system that are very much in place and work particularly well for agents who are listing their own properties, doing the whole process from listing to selling that property and doing that themselves on a self-employed kind of model. That operates and that works incredibly well within the Rex system. But equally, we do have a lot of sort of traditional branch agencies where you have a branch manager or a director, a lister, a negotiator, and then your sales progressor. It works equally as well with both. So I wouldn't say there was one particular target market as such, or one particular that this is going to work exceptionally well for you and it's not going to work for someone else. Yeah. It does. We do have clients of all shapes, sizes on the platform at the moment.
And in terms of your support, so obviously you're an Australian company originally, you're now over here. Is your support based locally? If we're getting support, is it coming from Oz? How does it work?
Yeah, we have local support in the UK, and also we do benefit from the Australian support as well. So not many other suppliers can say that they've got 21-hour a day support for their CRM. So something we do benefit from.
That's fantastic. And for agents that are looking to come on board, obviously your deal is on Kerfuffle, and details of that will be flashing across the screen as we speak. But if they're looking to come on board, typically speaking, what's the onboarding process look like? Do you have a waiting list, or are you able to sort of take people on fairly quickly?
We can take things on fairly quickly. So it largely depends on obviously the contract that's in place with their current supplier. A few do have fairly long notice periods, so it's always worth checking that before coming on board. We would say just a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks really between signing up and then actually going live with the Rex platform. In that time, we'll obviously import all your data. You'll be able to use our Rex University training facility, so you can do all of your training and your team can train on the product before actually going live, so they can hit the ground running. So we'd usually say 3 to 4 weeks at the moment.
And so, I mean, this is trusted by agents all across Australia for years already. It's well established over there. You've got a growing following here in the UK as well. We're seeing some absolutely great things. It's one of those things that in terms of a UX, I mean, I've seen different snapshots. It's quite a good looking system and fairly sort of easy to use, intuitive. Does it take an awful lot of training for people to get on board with it?
Not particularly. So the Rex system is, like you say, fairly intuitive. It's module based, and every module looks fairly similar with each other. And it also, we get a lot of comments, and a part of the design was based on this, that it is very much like using one of those familiar products that you probably use on a day-to-day basis, like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. It feels like you're using that sort of platform. And so it's very It does feel very intuitive. That being said, everyone does learn at their own speed. So you're going to get someone who's incredibly tech savvy, who's going to pick it up, probably won't do a huge amount of training. And then you might get someone who does require a little bit more assistance. So we have, I think, within Rex University, about 15 hours of training videos. Right. You can work through these at your own pace. There's questions to answer. There's help articles that will help you out even further. But we generally find that Rex University is helpful for pretty much everyone.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about your mobile functionality, because I think back in the bad old days, we all had the CRMs have been around for donkey's years, but mobile functionality would have been lovely, but we very much got a watered down version of the system that was a bit clunky and allowed us at best to check where we were meant to be in half an hour's time. But I understand that Rex does a little bit more than that.
Yeah, with Rex Mobile, we do more than that. So most CRMs, as you said, will claim to have some form of mobile functionality, and largely it's maybe calendar based or contact based, and you can use it to an extent, but it is clunky and it is difficult to use. With Rex Mobile, you can actually, we'd say, operate about 90% of your day-to-day tasks you can do through the mobile platform. So there's a huge amount of time where agents are out of the office. So whether it's negotiators who are sat between viewings, whether it's just you're out and about going between valuation, viewing, etc., there's a huge amount of time where you don't have access to your CRM, which means you can't look at data, you can't input data, and even little things, if you're making phone calls, after that phone call has been made, where are you going to record those notes? Do you write them on paper? Do you try and get them on your phone? If you write them on paper, they don't get put into your CRM. Think about it really. Do they go into your CRM when you go back to the office? Probably not. With Rex, you can do it right there and then. There's functionality around valuations, additional functionality around recording feedback in viewings, and it just really helps you to be that much more efficient and productive.
Fantastic, fantastic. So it's almost fully fledged version of the system in the palm of your hand, basically.
Yeah, that's a great breakdown of it, really.
You can have that for free.
I'll take that. Yeah,
that tagline's yours now. You can have it. Right, Mark, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us today. It's been good to talk to you.
Cool. You're welcome. Thanks very much, David.